About time I got rid of that dreaded shank. I've spent about 5 minutes shanking the ball before this video started, all because I'm doing a shank tip today and it got in my head a little bit. So, are you someone who suffers with a little bit of a shank, or someone who suffers getting a little bit heely too much, getting close towards those shanks and find yourself getting a little bit slicey sometimes with your irons, or maybe even your woods? But obviously we're going to shank the irons a little bit more. Today's lesson, we're going to be stopping all of that, so let's get stuck in. If you are new here though guys, do remember, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for plenty more lessons to come. If you're not a shanker, we've got loads coming from the gorgeous Lacala Golf Resort. So, one of my lessons came to me the other day, Chris, and he's not been for a couple of months, and you know, he's been away playing. We've did a load of work throughout the summer and the back end of last year. Went away, you know, played loads of golf and was feeling great. Got onto a nice run, dropped his handicap by about 6 shots and felt great. Then all of a sudden I get the phone call. It was like the bat signal had been sounded. Matt, I need your help. I'm shanking it really badly. I can't get out of it. I don't know what's going on. The swing still feels the same, but for about 7 or 8 holes around, I just get played with the shanks and it's really starting to piss me off. So, had a look at him and it became quite apparent what Chris was doing early on in the lesson. He was still standing to it really nicely, he was gripping it pretty nicely, but as he was coming down, he'd almost stopped his body rotation, and the handle of the golf club now, the grip end of it, as he was swinging down, he was getting into a bit of this early extension feeling here, where both his arms were actually raising up into the golf ball. And as I just stand, if I just peg another golf ball up for us here, let's just get that there. What we'd notice if I were to just actually stand up already here, we can see now that the heel of the golf club is getting a lot closer towards the golf ball. It's getting a little bit towards that hosel. It might be that little horrible sort of squirty heel shot, might not quite be the shank, but we could see there that it's not getting to where we want. So what that would start to do as well, Chris by then was trying to actually throw it back over the top a little bit too much to try and get away from getting this sort of shank shot, because he was feeling here subconsciously that as he was coming up, he was raising the handle of the club out towards the camera now, and feeling that he was going to shank everything. Body wasn't really doing anything, like I say, but everything looked a bit like this. So one of the drills we came up with for Chris, and this is why we've got the beautiful foam noodle here, I got at this and I placed it about 2 inches in front of his golf ball here, just poking through, so he could still take his setup, a bit too close that one, he could still take his setup and see the golf ball. But what this did with the foam noodle here now was actually give him a little bit of a feeling of almost gathering his arms back into his body. So he would start to see now, instead of getting the rise up and hit the foam noodle, what we started to see that he wanted to actually stay under it and almost pull away from it, because he wasn't wanting to actually put his stomach into it or his torso or lean the handle up towards it. So he had some swings to start off, just started with a 9-iron, where what we got him doing was just literally chipping a few off and seeing that he could make some contacts here. So if I just pull this tee peg up, what I'd try and do here was feel that each time I was just getting a little clip on the tee peg, and you might have heard that on the microphone, but just got a nice little solid brush of the tee peg. And it felt very much that this handle wasn't rising. And what you'd notice if the handle does rise, as opposed to your wrist being able to actually release and rotate this manner, we'd see that it'd actually start to get some cock up in the manner this way, and you can't actually release the golf club. So if you did make contact, you'd still get a pretty slicey, horrible shot, because the face isn't turned over and you're not actually letting it release and get all the energy into the golf ball. So it was a few swings underneath, just knock the tee peg out, a few swings underneath, and notice how as I make these golf swings here, I'm sucking my arms back into my body, feeling that my biceps pull into my rib cage a little bit, instead of that get everything away and stand up. We want to feel turn and feel a bit more connected. So if I just chip one off here now, let's put one here. The feeling we had, like I say for Chris, was that we hit some half swings, feeling that we were getting a little bit more connected. So we were in, feeling the shaft feeling a little bit lower and not standing up. And even there, if you heard that on the microphone, compared to the shot I hit at the start of the video, it was 10 times better. The strike was beautiful. It wasn't as steep and horrible with the divot, all from this feeling of not allowing this shaft to stand up and my body to stand up. I actually feel a bit more connected and turned through it to see that I get the club actually back on the ball in a proper manner. So after having sort of 20 minutes with the noodle in, and Chris feeling a little bit more confident, it was then that what we wanted him to do was make some full swings, or sort of 3/4 swings with his 7-iron or his 6-iron again, and try and feel this same golf swing. So instead of him getting all the way up into a good position, then coming down and stopping and letting himself raise out here, what we wanted to feel, that it was almost hitting some little knockdown shots, like he was playing in the wind a little bit and using his body and feeling a bit more connected to get the strike throughout it. So we take our setup, like I say, maybe go through 15-20 shots with the noodle, then build it up from there. Don't just hit 1 or 2 and then jump into it. Give yourself a little bit of time, make some quality small golf swings as opposed to rushing and making some long, poorer golf swings. Let's get the quality back first in the strike, then build ourselves back up to the full one. So it was the same feeling, almost imagining now that the handle, we were saying to Chris, doesn't go above your belt line through impact. So before, he was feeling like it was almost chest high, as where when he left the lesson, he felt like it was almost swinging around his belt line here. So good swing, good setup, full swing now, feeling the same feeling. Oh, I love that one. That felt sensational, right out of the meat of the club. And what you notice here, the divots are nowhere near as steep and horrible like that little chipped one, because I'm actually getting the club to come down on a great arc, getting a nice angle of attack and letting it just rotate instead of just almost burying it into the ground and letting the handle raise up. So if you are someone who's really struggling and feeling that you're a bit connected and your golf club doesn't feel great through impact, this is a fantastic drill to get rid of A, that shank, and also B, get that strike back. See that everything's working in unison. See that you're actually connected and getting the torso and the arms to do all the work at once and together. So give it a go. I hope it works for you. I'm sure it will, just like it did Chris. And good work in the lesson, Chris. You left hitting it amazing. Guys, thanks for watching this lesson this week. If you have enjoyed it, do hit that like button. Also, comment down below which has been your favourite lesson of the recent ones. And if you do want me to become your golf coach, remember, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification so you don't miss any future lessons. Also, a big thanks to Lecala Golf Club. It's absolutely gorgeous out here at the moment when it's smashing it down with rain at home. I think I might just move here and play golf for the rest of my life. It's perfect. Guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.